Hey there, Lucas. I'm happy you sent another set of essays. Before we get into your correction, I want to address what you mentioned in your email about not knowing when you should discuss both sides. You could essentially discuss both sides in a to what extent essay and as well as a discuss advantages and disadvantages. The only thing with the to what extent essays is that you don't have to discuss both sides. If you can't see validity to both sides of the argument, then you need to express that in your introduction, and then it makes sense for you to talk about both sides in your essay. The one kind of essay where you probably shouldn't discuss both sides is when it says, do you agree or disagree? They're asking you to really make a choice, all right? So there you should really only talk about one thing. But in do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, or discuss advantages, disadvantages, and give your opinion, you have to talk about both. In to what extent essays, you don't have to, but my experience has shown that the questions are usually phrased in such a way that you can probably find something to say about both sides of the argument. And so it becomes a really much more well-developed essay when you discuss both sides. So I don't know if that helps you. I don't know if I've made it clear or not. You're really just going to have to pay close attention to the question. The one kind of question, like I said, just to recap, that you really shouldn't discuss both sides is when it says, do you agree or disagree? Okay. All right, let's move on. Let's take a look at your task 1 with the German school subjects. Okay, this pie chart illustrates the popularity of 7 school subjects. The information is obtained from Germany in 2017. On the one hand, the 4 most popular school subjects summed up more than 80% in total. Okay, this is a little awkward, summed up more than. That just feels a little strange, but whatever, it's okay. They reached broadly similar. What is they? Are you referring to the 4? You should have probably said each subject reached broadly similar percentages. PE, I don't know about this reached again. They accounted for, or they had, but not necessarily reached. So PE had the largest percentage at 22.9, closely followed by history, 22.4. The other 2 subjects, maths and physics, reached percentages just below 20% each. Make sure that's clear, because you don't want it to seem like together they reached 20%. On the other hand, the lowest percentages represent only 1/5 of the total. They correspond to biology, geography, and IT, the least favorite subjects. The 2 former, you can't say the 2 former here because it's just the former and the latter. Let's see. All right, let's just go with it. The 2 former here's that reached against the wrong word. So why don't you just say biology had a figure at around 7%. And geography was 0.5% less. Now, why am I doing that? I'm really trying to stretch this out a little bit, okay? Because you only have 7 pieces of information here, and so it's, just stretching it out a little bit. The latter, you want a double T here, was the least popular subject at 3.7. Now, this is a really nice attempt at creating some cohesion, but I really want you to avoid doing the latter and the former with more than 2 things. Just stick to 2 things when you're using the latter and the former. Okay. And then, but I like what you tried to do, but like I said, it just didn't really pan out for you. So the latter was the least popular subject at 3.7%. Fine. Here, what you could have done is you could have talked to us a little bit about how that compares to, say, the most popular. So you could say it's about 1/7 of the most popular subject, or you could have said that this was half or just a little over half of the next most popular subject. So you could have made some connections like that. And when you have so few pieces of information, it's important to do this to make these kinds of connections. All right. And I already showed you where there were a few of these. So IT, like I said, is about 7 times less than PE. IT is it's half as much as geography. So these are some of the things you could have talked about. Let's move on. Overall, there was a large gap between the most popular and least popular school subjects in Germany. In 2017, PE, history, maths, and physics obtained the largest proportion in the chart. of the chart, while biology, geography, and IT were the smallest ones. All right, it's fine. Like I said, I didn't do a word count here. I don't know, I think I have to hit enable editing. Let me see. Nope, it's exactly 150 words. So you're fine, but like I said, you could have done a little bit more here in terms of making some connections, in terms of stretching the things out. You didn't need to put, for example, two subjects in one sentence. All right, we do that when we have a lot of information to talk about. We need to economize. Here you didn't have that. Here you had the opposite problem where you have to stretch out your answers. And so that's what I wanted you to do a little bit more. Did you reach 150? Yeah, but could you have done a little more in terms of making some of this information meaningful? Yes, also true. Okay, so on the whole, it was good. Careful with some of this vocabulary. You kept using reached, which just felt really rather unnatural to me. You did it a lot, especially in this paragraph. Okay. You did it, look, I mean, 3 times. Every verb is reached, reach. So you want to avoid that for sure. Oh, and here you did it again. Okay. I think I gave you some suggestions what you could have said instead. So let's move on then and talk about online communication. Now here, do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? This is one of those essays where you have to talk about both. All right, and you have to tell us if the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. And you should do that here in your introduction. It looks like you didn't. Why do you have to do it? Because there's a direct question here. And the answer to this direct question is your position. If you look at task descriptors for if you look at the descriptors for task achievement in band 7, it says that you need to present a clear position throughout the response. So you have to answer whatever question they ask you or command. It has to be answered in your introduction. Let's move on. Experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated about how face-to-face meetings have been replaced by online communication at the workplace. This essay will discuss both the advantages and disadvantages of this trend using examples from the New Zealand government and Victoria University of Wellington to demonstrate points and prove arguments. I already told you need to include what you actually think, because now going into this, I don't know what your position is, and I probably won't understand until the end. All right, let's move on. There is ample evidence that virtual communication tools and technology have allowed people to do their job in an agile and easy way. The central reason behind this is twofold. Firstly, it is convenient and flexible because people can communicate with anyone across the globe and at any time. Secondly, it is time-saving as employees can work remotely from everywhere. All right. And thirdly, it is cost-saving because companies are able to use less desk space. For example, recent empirical research by the New Zealand government demonstrated that during the lockdown last March without the in, employees from the public service and many companies were able to work remotely because of the use of virtual communication tools such as the traditional email or the use of more advanced ones like Zoom or Google Hangouts. In addition, the same research showed how many companies kept using this modality even after the end of the lockdown because they saved money on renting large offices. Therefore, it is conclusively clear that online connection can provide benefits not only to employees who can work flexibly, but also to companies which save costs. This is lovely. This is great. Okay, fine. So let's look at your next paragraph. Although there is a case for those benefits, some people have concerns about replacing face-to-face meetings, arguing that technology put a strain on work relationships and technology makes effective, with an S, communication at work more difficult. Unlike face-to-face communication, working online makes it harder to build connections with colleagues, which ensures that employees feel part of a group and can cause conflicts and confrontations among colleagues. For example, an extensive study by the Victoria University of Wellington showed that the efficiency of teamwork in the public service decreased by 80% because of the frictions and stress caused by misunderstandings in online communications. Employees stated that it was more difficult to read body language and facial expressions, and they felt alienated because of the lack of casual conversations which were common at the office. Consequently, it is possible to state beyond doubt that the largest drawback to such communication at work is the potential disintegration of a network of employees, which can affect a workplace culture and identity. Okay, that was excellent. That was an excellent paragraph. I loved it. You had good arguments. You developed them. The language was beautiful. You've got a lot of great vocabulary. I don't even have to show it to you. I think you know what the great vocabulary is. I mean, you talked about friction and stress. body language, facial expressions, alienated, potential disintegration of a network of employees, workplace culture. Beautiful. It's really lovely, lovely language. I like the way you did it here. A lot of people have a hard time with this sentence in the beginning of the paragraph, but you did it very smoothly, very correctly. It was lovely, Lucas. So good job. Let's look at your conclusion. From the examples and arguments given, I firmly believe that despite the advantages of online communication, such as flexibility and cost saving, no digital tool can replace the sense of community and the effectiveness that come with face-to-face communication. If companies want to succeed using virtual tools, they should compensate the drawbacks of remote work with the benefits of face-to-face contact, singular. Lovely. Okay, so you're saying that face-to-face is best. Great. Now, so again, you needed to say that up here, okay, that the disadvantages outweigh the advantages. All right, I like the fact then that you put the second. That was a good thing to do. Typically, this is what we do. We put the paragraph that we support at the end to really give it some weight, to put it closer to the conclusion, so it's a more kind of correct order. All right, you leave your strongest argument for last, and that's what you did. So well done. I thought this was an excellent essay. So as I said before, the only weakness for me was not including your position here. Okay, so that what was missing, but I know that in your next set of essays you'll correct that. So great job with this. Keep at it. You're doing great. Let's take a look at another set of essays from you. So get to it, and we'll meet back here to correct that next set. Good luck.